So there's some new news in the case of Robert GRAYSON Shiver versus Lindsay Shirley Shiver. So that's their divorce. There's a notice of a final hearing that's been sent out to Lindsay. I swear I've been checking that Peach court system nearly every day, and when I saw a new filing, I was like, oh my goodness, there's something new. My eyes widened. There's new news in the case of the divorce of Lindsay versus Robert. You might remember Lindsay as the beleaguered mother of 3 boys who's shown up in all these body cam videos and everywhere after she's been accused of conspiring with others, one of them her boyfriend, to allegedly take her husband off the earth. Supposedly she put out a hit on Robert Shiver, who is now living his best life, might I say. Lindsay's cooling her heels in the Bahamas. That's where she's supposed to be. She can't leave. And her trial has been delayed, and it's really making her frustrated and angry. She's ready to get out of the Bahamas. But it's been delayed till at least December of this year, 2023, or even potentially later. So the court said, please take notice that a final hearing in the above scheduled divorce is scheduled for Thursday, November 9th at 9:30 a.m. So it's scheduled to take place in Thomasville, Georgia in a courtroom, but I don't think Lindsay can make that unless they have like a Zoom thing she can attend. I'm not sure how it works when you're talking about being in the Bahamas and needing to appear in a Thomasville court. So Lindsay was notified of this news on October 9th, 2023. So what exactly happens in a final divorce hearing in Georgia? If you and your spouse can't come to some sort of agreement during mediation, a final hearing is set and the judge will hear from both parties. So the judge will review all the evidence and make a ruling on all the issues that are presented at that time before the court. So I'm assuming maybe the judge will rule on custody, support, and all those issues. It's not going to look good in Lindsay's favor. She's down there awaiting a trial for, allegedly attempting to put out a hit on her husband. I don't think that's going to go over too well in the divorce case. We already saw her lawyer had dropped out of the case. Meanwhile, Robert is moving at God's speed, quote, with his famous girlfriend. So TMZ is reporting that Savannah CHRISLEY looks like she's super into Robert, who is her new boyfriend. And they were all over each other at a recent Zach Bryan concert, and they were wearing matching outfits and everything, being all lovey-dovey. You can hear the song, I can't play it here, but Zach is singing, I'm moving at God's speed. And Robert looks like he tries to hide his face a lot from the camera. But Savannah's from the CHRISLEY Knows Best reality TV show. I didn't really watch it, but in Alabama, one recent night, they were putting on a lot of PDA, kissing and hugging each other while Zach was on stage. TMZ says that Savannah kept a hand on Robert's back or in one of his back pockets, and he was doing the same thing to her. And they talk about Savannah looking like one of those girls who loves coordinating outfits because they were really matched up there. They had on a lot of Zach Bryan merch, apparently. But yeah, I never really watched CHRISLEY Knows Best. I kind of watched the greatest hits from that show just before I recorded this to familiarize myself. I've seen the faces of the family. This is a relationship that is new, and obviously they're coming out telling the world they're boyfriend and girlfriend by attending this concert together. Savannah had already revealed on a podcast that she was basically dating Robert. Robert is known for playing football at Auburn University, and of course now he's most famous for surviving his wife, Lindsay Shiver's alleged plot against his life. It seemed like it was a double date because Savannah's younger brother, Grayson, was also there with his girlfriend, and I find it so funny that Savannah's younger brother, his name is Grayson, Robert's middle name is Grayson, and Robert and Lindsay's sons, one of their sons, his name is Grayson. We could hear Lindsay talking about Grayson in that body cam footage where they were arguing in the garage and who's going to pick up Grayson. I said, I'm going to pick up Grayson, Lindsay said. But I do applaud Savannah for stepping into the role of parent of sorts for her younger siblings while her parents are serving jail time. I'm wondering, is Savannah going to step right into Lindsay's role? Like, how soon is this divorce going to be finalized? And can Savannah slip right into that role as a bonus mom to their 3 sons? The women on Facebook, I always like to check their temperature and see what they're thinking. Some people think, oh, is Savannah Is she kind of being like a gold digger? You know, I don't know how much money that family has, but does Savannah need more money? Is that why she slid into Robert's DMs? In one of my past videos out there when I told women to, you know, shoot your shot because I hear that Robert is accepting Facebook friend requests, I never thought like someone kind of semi-famous would slide into his DMs. I mean, she's younger than Robert, but Savannah's reality TV famous dad, Todd, was given a 12-year prison sentence, and his wife, Julie, was sentenced to 7 years. They were convicted for bank fraud and tax evasion, although recently their sentences were reduced. Todd got 2 years off and Julie got 1 year off. And Todd's trying to make the most of his time there, I guess. Meanwhile, Lindsay, as if her life couldn't get any worse, she was the victim of thievery recently, according to the Daily Mail. So Lindsay is desperate to leave the Bahamas after a thief allegedly came into her apartment and stole $20,000 worth of jewelry. And as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, is this another scheme? Who knows? You know, was someone watching her and knew where she stayed? They actually came into the apartment, but she had her bedroom door locked, thankfully. But they're saying Lindsay was the victim of a break-in the past week or so. And supposedly the burglar made off with a $15,000 LeMel bracelet and a pair of gold rings and $200 cash. So who knew where she was staying and where exactly to go? But friends told the DailyMail.com that Lindsay is desperate to just get back to her boys, and she wants to move into a new location with 24-hour security because she's, you know, obviously fearful. But the burglar struck on a recent Thursday, and it was just hours after Lindsay had made a recent court appearance regarding this case of, you know, murder for hire plot against her husband Robert. Supposedly, Lindsay had $20,000 worth of jewelry stolen when someone broke into that luxury Bahamas apartment as Lindsay was asleep. Now, 36-year-old Lindsay was home alone, but she had her bedroom door locked, and she didn't even wake up as this intruder supposedly prowled around and stole her jewelry. So I guess she didn't have it there in the bedroom with her. You would think she would have her expensive stuff in the bedroom with her. I think everything is kind of like a scam, or is this someone hired by Lindsay? Is this insurance fraud? So it's a $10,000 diamond bracelet that was taken, jewelry supposedly passed down from her grandmother to her mother, $200 cash out of her purse. Where was all this stuff kept? You would think most women would keep their purse in the bedroom with them. I don't know. So Lindsay slept through the whole thing, allegedly, and she didn't find out about the robbery until the next day. Which, if it's true, I guess that's a good thing. It's a good thing she didn't, wake up and go out there and look around and startle the robber. Who knows how that could have ended. Friends say she was upset by the break-in. You know, one more upsetting thing beyond this trial for allegedly trying to do away with her 38-year-old husband, Robert. Now, there was a second apartment that was also burglarized. It's in a Nassau gated community. So much for a gated community, huh? But cops don't know if the burglars were just, you know, striking out at random people or if they knew who Lindsay was. Considering the amount of attention this case has gotten, I believe they probably knew who Lindsay was. And, you know, she came to court previously with that $6,000 or more Cartier love bracelet on, and she couldn't even take it off because they didn't have the right key to unlock it. So all that stuff has gotten a lot of press, but that wasn't the bracelet that was stolen. I wonder if it's still on her wrist. But as a condition of her $100,000 bail, Lindsay cannot leave the Bahamas, even though she really wants to. She had to register a Bahamas address with the court as part of the conditions. Isn't it ironic how Lindsay was posting all that stuff about, oh, Bahamas mama, I love the Bahamas, going to the Bahamas, flying her friends down there, and now it's like her place of paradise is now her prison. They think the guy scaled the side of the building. That's what a friend told the Daily Mail. We still don't know if it was targeted, they said. He went through the 2 other bedrooms, but fortunately Lindsay's door was locked. It could have been a lot worse, her friend said. If whoever had broken in had known there was an attractive blonde female all alone in the bedroom, anything could have happened. I wonder who did this break-in. Isn't it interesting? There was the break-in at the Grabber's Bar that led to the murder for hire plot to be revealed. And now that Lindsay's down there in the Bahamas, she's blessed to be able to be in some beautiful place. instead of still out in that horrible Fox Hill prison. But now that she's able to stay in a luxury apartment, she's blessed to be able to even consider moving to a different one with 24-hour security. We know this is the case where prosecutors are claiming that they have the goods on Lindsay. Allegedly, Lindsay sent photos to a would-be hitman. Lindsay sent photos of Robert, her husband, dad to her 3 children, sent it off to this alleged hitman, who was a friend of her boyfriend, Terrence Adrian Bethel. And the hitman allegedly was Farron Newbold Jr., and allegedly, Lindsay said, kill him. Robert filed for divorce. I've been keeping track of the divorce papers. They have 3 sons, and now that we have this notice of final hearing coming up next month, maybe Robert will be free next month. Totally free, so it'll really be interesting to see if Robert and Savannah become this power married couple, famous, and will Savannah slide into that same home where Lindsay used to live? The proceedings are adjourned in the murder-for-hire trial until December, and experts predict it'll take a lot longer than that to resolve a case like this. They could typically take 3 years or more in the Bahamas, as it moves through the Bahamas justice system. So Lindsay better get comfortable. I hope she has a lot of money. She has to wear the GPS ankle monitor. She has her 8 p.m. curfew, and she has to check in with police. So I'm sure people can see her movements. They know what's happening, what's going on with her. Her friend said Lindsay is angry that the case has been delayed. She just doesn't feel safe in the Bahamas anymore. Well, if she really tried to put a hit out on Robert while he was in the Bahamas with their 3 children, if that's true, I'm sure Robert didn't feel pretty safe in the Bahamas after he uncovered the plot either. The friend said all she wants to do is clear her name as quickly as possible, and she can get back with the boys. The boys also need their mom and miss her just as much. Yeah, I do feel sad for those boys because in all this doings, the boys had no part in it. They're so innocent in all the machinations of their parents. So it's interesting, again, these robberies, it could be totally unrelated, but it was someone at Grabber's Bar who knew how to cut the power, perhaps knew that there would be a good amount of cash in the safe or wherever they were able to get the funds from. And that investigation into the Grabber's Bar robbery is what supposedly unveiled this whole WhatsApp conversation and got Lindsay and her island boys, as I like to call them, in trouble. They should be all very thankful that they are out on bond and they didn't have to waste away for years in that Fox Hill prison, which looks horrible. So I'm sure Lindsay is able to see the news and these articles of Robert all hugged up with Savannah, moving on, living his life. I'm sure she's just kicking herself. If she did send that text, if she plotted to harm Robert in any way, I'm sure she is kicking herself for taking that route instead of just, again, waiting, getting divorced like a normal human being and letting the court take its course. Sure, she might not have gotten maybe even the home, maybe she would have gotten the home, who knows, but because of the adultery and Georgia statutes, she probably wouldn't have gotten alimony, but she also wouldn't have been stuck in the Bahamas dealing with this type of robbery. She wouldn't have had to spend that time, 19 days or so, in Fox Hill prison. But maybe she sees these videos of Robert with Savannah, who is only 26 years old. Maybe it's eaten her alive almost to think of Robert. Okay, now he's moved on, he's going to be divorced, maybe he'll be in the free and clear, go off to marry Savannah. What if Lindsay gets convicted and all these years she's away from her boys? I'm not sure, I can't remember if the boys are allowed to fly down there and visit her. That might seem kind of dangerous, but at least I believe her mother can. I believe maybe they can see each other, but at least a lot of FaceTimes. But that would be so confusing to the boys. Like, Mom, why aren't you here anymore? Why aren't you home with us? Why are we not around you? They are just so young to be experiencing something like this. It's pretty sad that the 3 young boys would have to deal with a mom off in the Bahamas, can't come home to Georgia, not being there in their daily lives. So we can pretty much assume this divorce will go very far in Robert's favor. Maybe he'll be free and clear, and any of his monies that he hasn't used toward legal wranglings or whatever can be spent on Savannah if they truly get serious. I mean, I know they just started dating, but if it gets even more serious, if they end up getting married, if Savannah ends up stepping in there and basically becoming a mom to those boys, a bonus mom, someone who can be there in person, who is willing to, spend the time as they grow up. Their age ranges are pretty young, something like from 4 years of age up to 10 or 11. So imagine over the next decade just needing someone there, a mom figure to be there with them, for them, help with homework, and just cart them around, all their sports, all their activities, and just love them, cook dinner for them. In the meantime, Lindsay was allegedly willing to, I guess, throw it all away almost for this Terrence Adrian Bethel guy. For some reason, and I still like to know the backstory. That's why I bought Jada Pinkett Smith's book. I want to know the real story, not just how it looks on the surface. I always like to know the truth. Why did Lindsay throw it all away? Was she just bored, or was there something else really going on in the marriage, like Lindsay alleged in different divorce papers, calling Robert abusive? What was really happening? If that was true, that's very sad. And I'm sad she took the route allegedly of, having this younger boyfriend, allegedly going off to concoct a plot to get rid of Robert. 1 Thessalonians 4:15 through 18. For we say this to you by the Lord's own word, that we who are still alive and remain until the coming of the Lord will in no way proceed into his presence. Those believers who have fallen asleep in death, the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a shout of command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the blast of the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain on the earth will simultaneously be caught up and raptured together with them, the resurrected ones in the clouds, to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will always be with the Lord. Therefore comfort and encourage one another with these words concerning our reunion with believers who have died. Thankfully, in this case, no one has died. This is one of those true crime cases where thankfully the plot was thwarted. No one had to lose their lives. Robert, hopefully, and Savannah, or whomever he's meant to be with to mother those boys, will go on to live a happy life. Hopefully justice will come and the truth will come out eventually, maybe when this thing goes to trial in the Bahamas. Who knows if it'll be streamed anywhere or their whole system of judgment, but I just hope for a fair trial everywhere. In the divorce, in the murder for hire case, I just want to know all the evidence. Let the jury decide what's really truth here, what's not truth. But boy, Lindsay, can you imagine her position? Just being this royal housewife of 3 boys and making TikToks and, how you get stains out of clothing and all that, to what it's come to now. A woman off in the Bahamas can't leave. I still wonder if she's sneaking away somewhere to see her boyfriend. People breaking into her apartment, stealing her jewelry. What a mess. And Robert going on to just maybe live a happy life. We'll keep following. We'll see what happens with the divorce case. Can't wait to get those papers soon on November 9th or soon after. We'll see what happens there. And then we'll wait and wait and wait, most likely. Dollars to donuts, we probably won't see that trial commencing or another court date commencing in December. In the Bahamas, maybe. We know justice in this case and the trial could take years. So it happens that way here too in the US sometimes, so it could take quite a while for us to see justice, but justice will eventually come, whatever it is. Thank you so much for watching.